Alright, so here's what we got. Here's a circuit. Basically I got a variac just so I can get this down to an acceptable range. I'm doing all the sensing and power robbing from the primary side of this transformer, just so that when I short the coil, I don't have, it's not going through like a regulator and all these other circuits, the transistors and whatnot, to hopefully not snuff out the ringing. Get out of here, Pudgy. So the variac on its own draws 8.5 watts. So with the circuit running, it draws just over 10. So about, a 1.5 watts or whatever. With these transformers hooked up and the circuit. So I'll show you what it looks like on a scope. So there's what it looks like right now. I have my scope across right here. So I'm going to turn on the shorting. You can see I'm adjusting it forward, back, get it right centered on the peak. I can close down that window or open it up and widen it a fair amount. So I'm going to move the scope so that's what it looks like now. I'm going out of this bridge right here, so you can see what we're doing. Right now I don't have the negative of this cap hooked up, but I am still shorting out the resistor. So the power's coming into the bridge, into here, and I'm triggering this MOSFET when the sine wave is low. So I'll show you that. So that yellow is when I'm actually I don't know why I can't get it to trigger good, but you can see I'm triggering right at the lows of it. So it doesn't really increase the draw much at all. A couple hundred milliamps to do it that way. So I was just testing that so that I didn't have another MOSFET here when you short it to try to get the most in it, because otherwise you have some resistance there. So just for now I wanted to see how much I could fill up this cap. So I shorted at the low to dump this cap. So I'm going to turn, right now the coil shorting is on. I'm going to turn it off. So you can see that's what I'm dumping. It is right at the lows. Very short window. So now I'm going to hook the cap up. Remember, right now it was disconnected. I was just going through the load. I apologize, it wasn't going through the load. I didn't have that bridge hooked up. It wasn't hooked up right there. I'm sorry. Right there, actually. So that's our waveform right now. That's what we've got going into the cap with, across the resistor. Now I'm going to add the cap to the circuit. So we're up to 20.4 volts. It's on ×10 division, so that's correct. Now I'm going to turn on the coil shorting. It's already set up on the peak. Now it goes up, but I don't know how the hell you guys are getting so much out of it, because I only go up 2-3 volts. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but this ain't working. So off, on. Let me close down the window for the shorting, and you can see the peak drop. As soon as I open up the window, the cap starts filling up more. Now I'm going to mess with the oscillation. That's adding, subtracting. I'm going to add, and you can see adding the oscillations did help. I mean, it's minimal, but from 24 or whatever to 27. So I'll turn it back down. Hopefully you can see that. It's very small, but you can see it rise a little bit. So oscillating at our multiple pulses on the peak does help, because I'm going right to the cap. However, it's nowhere near 600 volts or whatever you guys are getting. So any suggestions, let me know. Right now I only have 2 MOSFETs that I'm shorting with here. I don't have 10 of them, so I don't know if that's going to help out tremendously, but when I tried it on the motor, it didn't help out all that much. So maybe there's something else I'm doing wrong. I don't know. I know these are not the same transformer Sean has. The other ones just came in, but I didn't finish the other VFD yet. So I'll try that. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but I did try different cap sizes, 2 UF to 25 microfarads, and that didn't seem to make much of a difference either. Also, I'm using kind of a piece of, not the best bridge in the world. I don't have the Shockeys coming, so I'll switch that out when it gets here, but I don't know if that's going to make that much night and day difference to go from 27 volts to 600 or whatever, 200. Anything more than that, I'd be happy, because a few volts, that's not going to do anything. So, like I said, I don't really have anything on there that's going to impede on the ringing, I don't think. So, dumping it, that's just one MOSFET. And I'll show you both circuits actually for the coil shorting. I'm using Ron's. So this is basically the exact print I'm using with the addition of another regulator and a driver to drive the MOSFETs. I mean, it's pretty simple. Other thing I was going to mention to you guys was on the print where I had this circled. This one going here, I don't get this driver chip to work like that. I moved it over to pin 3 and it works fine. So I notice on this one it's pin 3. I mean, it's a little different there, but pin 3 on this one, pin 3 on this one, it works great. I put this on pin 4 and I don't get anything, but the rest of this seems to work. Maybe I did something wrong, but I've tried it on multiple boards. I built a few of these and they work fine. So this is the circuit I use for coil shorting, and it works great. Now, I used almost the exact same thing for the dumping filling, except I got rid of this because you don't need it to oscillate for that. I just used these 2 chips and this to trigger it, and I share a bridge with the other one and just bring one signal to here and another regulator and whatnot, and then I can move it around if I need to, but it works pretty good. So I made a couple PCBs for everything, and they're in there on Evergrade 2B under my name. So that's where I'm at. Hopefully you guys know something I don't know, and you can let me know. All right, thanks.